So what about the draft, Tim? That happened last week.
When Dad and I we go out drafting, when we go out watching the under 16s now, we used to call them minor midgets, and they say, "Do you enjoy it?" And it's fun going out seeing the kids, right, Dad? But when it gets around January, February, it's cold, and it's really not that fun. And we come back at 11 o'clock at night. Then I got to do the write-ups. But what's fun is seeing the kids that we saw at 15 years old being drafted finally into the NHL.
So they made it.
All
that effort.
And it's so exciting to see the people, the moms and the dads that we've seen in the rinks, all dressed up and hugging the kids and getting all excited. And that's kind of the payoff, really.
It is.
So here's the guys just that we saw. And this was from, again, the Greater Toronto Hockey League, which I think is the greatest.
Well, it's 40,000 people
40,000, and kids from China come over, and Russia come over, and Sweden come over to play.
There's a guy, and where is that guy in Toronto somewhere that you have to have an address, and he gives them an address.
There's all that funny stuff.
There's all that funny stuff that goes on.
Yeah, okay.
So the first pick overall for the Buffalo Sabres was Owen Powers. So he's a big defenseman. We saw him at the Mississauga Rebels.
And he is big.
He's 6'6" now. We saw him. He was 6'3". At 15.
15 years old, 6'3".
Unbelievable. And he had a great Spengler Cup.
He was really good. So let me ask you the question, Dad. He's a defenseman. Even he's still young, 18. He's going to Buffalo. Buffalo, unfortunately, going to get their brains pounded out again.
They're after Shane Wright.
Yeah, I think it might be another one. And Owen Powers said he wants to go back. He plays for Michigan in the NCAA. They got a powerhouse team. They want to win a champion. Should he play in the NHL next year, or should he go back to college?
Buffalo's going to be a little ticked at me saying this right now. Of course, he's losing a year's salary, but I would go back because you're going to get your brains pounded out in Buffalo, and he'd be seeing all his friends winning the championship out there. Where's it? University of Michigan?
Michigan, yeah.
Plus him being a defenseman as opposed to like a forward.
Well, because I think he'll go back.
Because in the old days, you saw Larry Robinson playing in Nova Scotia in the American Hockey League.
He looked a big stork.
So all that's they used to especially send the defenseman a couple of years in the
always to send a defenseman down, because what happens is you lose your confidence. And
because when a defenseman makes a mistake, as we all know on TV, it's very blatant.
And believe me, he'll make a lot of mistakes in Buffalo. Yeah. And I'm not knocking Buffalo. I'll never knock Buffalo, because that owner spends the money. I mean, he spent the money on Stahl. He spent the money on he spent the money. Yeah. And Skinner, he gave Skinner that money and everything. Anyhow, go ahead. I'm sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
So then L.A. picked Brent Clark, who played for the Don Mills Flyers.
On the wing with Shane.
He's defenseman.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, he's a defenseman. The other guy, the next guy, Othman, was the winger.
Oh, he's the guy that played on the wing with Shane Wright. You're going to hear a lot about Shane Wright.
Yeah. So that team, Don Mills, they didn't lose the game all season. They lost one game in a tournament, and that was it. Oh. I would think that team was probably the best team.
Oh no, I think the best team I ever saw was Dan Cameron. Remember?
Yeah. And Zach Hyman was on that team.
Was he?
Yeah.
Boy, that team, and I'll tell you. Let me tell you a story about that. I know you have to read that list, but let me tell you a story about Dan Cameron.
What team was this?
Junior Canadians.
And this was a long time ago.
Long time.
That's a long time. Zach Hyman was 15. So
yeah, so figure it out. So I said, how come your team passes? Bing, 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 bing. They made monkeys of teams that they were unbelievable. He says, all I do is scrimmage. And every guy on that team got drafted, except the backup goalie. And the parents didn't like Dan Cameron. You know why? Because he said, well, anybody can just do that. But they didn't realize that these kids, when they scrimmage, they pass the puck around I mean, remember that, Tim? Well, that's
they
the
would,
best
like-
team I saw.
Yeah, they used to like come out of their ends like better than pros
Bing,
did.
bing,
You know,
bing.
being a hockey mom, I mean, and knowing a little bit about hockey, even when Dell was playing, these coaches, because I don't know where they get their drills from. They
Hockey
drills and they drills. The kids are
Remember
so
I had to leave?
bored. And then they use the scrimmage. Wow, like a 3-minute scrimmage at the end. If the kids do all the drills right, and you know what? It's so
And they
sad.
hate the drills.
But you know what? You're so right, Dad. It impressed the parents in the
Oh.
stands that don't know hockey, and they go, "Oh wow, look at them putting them through
Well,
the
I
drills."
think the best is when they have the chalkboard on the side.
Oh, yeah.
And they're paying $200,
Yeah,
$150.
they're lecturing them on
You go here, you go
philosophies
there.
of hockey on the ice that they're paying for. Well, I know you couldn't go. You couldn't go to the.
How about when they have them on their knees or sitting on the ice? Look at that man.
Hey, how about the time where they broke the leg? When the drills are so complicated for these kids that are 9 or 10 years old that the coaches were trying to show them how to do the drills, and they collided, and one guy broke his leg. I mean,
and really broke his leg.
and really broke
Remember
his
I
leg.
said to you, I said, I'm getting off here.
and-
I was on the ice. I said, I'm getting off
Well,
here.
we did. We invited you to come on the ice one time, and it was amazing how the fathers were trying to impress you more than the kids. And Dad goes, "Well, that's it for me. I can't be around these guys that are semi skating around. They're going to
So-
collide with me and hurt me."
I remember I had the last practice, and I said to the kids, I call them all at center ice, and I said, I don't want you to pass the puck. And they looked at me like this because all they've seen, you can, listen, the puck moves faster than you. And that's
That's
the
their
father.
tagline,
Yes,
yeah.
the puck moves faster than you. Move the puck, move the puck, move the puck. So I said, I remember I saying to them, I don't want you to pass the puck. I want you to go to the other end and score. And if you can stop, and the kids really, and I remember the practice at the end, the sweat was just pouring off.
They loved it.
They loved it.
And the funny thing is, the first things the scouts say: can he skate? Can he handle a puck? They
Yeah.
don't say, can he pass a puck?
Nobody says, "Can you pass
How
the
good
puck?"
a passer is it? They all say, can he skate? Can he handle the puck? That's the two things, the first two things the scouts look for.
And I can say too, being in the rinks, what do you hear in the stands being yelled at? Pass it, pass the puck. That's all you hear the mothers saying is pass the puck. And one time I turned to a mother, I won't say she's a mother of an NHLer, and I said, "You know why you yell at telling your kid to pass the puck?" And then she goes, "Why?" I said, "Because you don't want your kid labeled at 5 years old to be a puck hog." I said, "Who is he going to pass the puck to?" And she goes, "Well, that's true." And I said, "That's the reason the parents yell."
Well, Gretzky, a perfect example is Wayne Gretzky. He was second greatest hockey player I ever saw. Well, Bobby was the best, Bobby Orr. By the way, they did draft a guy best.
Yeah, there was a guy, Robert Orr, got drafted
Robert Orr, imagine it.
from Quebec. He played for the Moosehead.
Yeah, well, I hope
Well, you had a defenseman on your Mississauga Ice Dogs that was a defenseman. His last name was Orr, and he put on number 4 on your team. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
I don't remember him.
Oh yeah, it was
Must
on
have
the
been
ice.
around long.
Yeah. Anyway,
So
that's
anyhow,
pressure.
Well, the thing is, I know we're off topic. We're going to read some more names. But you and I have said that you can tell teams that scrimmage more
Yeah.
because they when they're scrimmaging,
They
they're
have
learning
confidence.
they're learning how to think the game. They like when you're doing all the passing drills, there's nobody to stop you,
No.
right? So it just becomes automatic and it's
Yeah,
just
it's
a drill.
robotics.
When at some point when the kids go up, they got to learn how to think the game, and not just do the stuff. And the kids that scrimmage a lot, like Dan Cameron's, you could see they thought the game. They knew where to go when they didn't have the puck. And
That was the
teams
best team.
that pass the puck just do passing drills. When the kids don't have the puck, you can see they sometimes don't know where to go. And that's the difference between scrimmaging and doing the
Well,
Hockey
Wayne Gretzky-
Canada Hockey Canada drills.
He said the same thing, is that he always went where he thought the puck, or he knew the puck was going.
You're
and That's what
anticipating.
his dad taught him.
And also it helps the kids know that they're going to get hit to look, you know what I mean, when they're looking who's coming. Who's coming to hit
Well,
me?
Dougie Gilmore, you couldn't hurt Dougie Gilmore.
Because he knows it's coming, and he knows how to
spin.
spin and
Well, we'll get into that someday. Tim, read what the play. Name the players. Start off. We'll start off. We won't interrupt. Go ahead.
Okay, so we got Brendan Othman. He played on Don Mills. Wyatt Johnson. He played for the Marlies. Morgan Lemieux played for. No, I'm not saying that right. Malu. Montreal drafted him. He played for the Marlies. Daniel, another name I'm kind of butchering. Chaka played. Vegas got him in the second round. He played for the Junior Canadians. LA picked Francisco Pinelli. And then it's funny, LA, they pick a lot of guys from the OHL.
Yeah.
You know, and they picked Quentin Byfield last year, and they picked that Brenton Clark. He'll be with Downey. And they picked this Francisco Pinelli. He's a real speed demon.
That's Rob Clark, I think. No, Rob Blake.
Rob
Blake, yeah.
See, they pick a lot of Ontario guys, unlike another team we know. But we won't get into that.
We won't get into that.
And this is an interesting for me. The guy, New York Rangers took a goalie named Tristan Lennox he played for the Detroit Red Wings, and he to me was the best goalie in the draft. And he got drafted a year later. Like his draft year was last year, and that's what I mean. Cindy, you talk about why don't they draft goalies?
more goalies.
They want to wait and see.
Sure.
See this kid. So this kid was really big, and he's huge. Like he's
and they like big goalies now, as opposed to Felix.
Look at Price and the Vasilevsky. So he's a big goalie. Stevie Yzerman took him. Oh, sorry, the New York Rangers or New York Islanders. Lou Lamoriello took him. Buffalo got a guy named Josh Bloom, who I really liked. He played for the Toronto Nats. Tampa Bay got another big defenseman, Roman Schmidt. He played for the Rebels. I don't know if I think he played for the Marlies too.
I remember him as Schmidt.
He was big. The Blackhawks took a guy named Ethan Del Macho, who played for the Marlies. The Wings took Pascal Zito, played for the Rebels. The Flames took Jack Beck, who played for the Marlies. The Flames took Francisco Arcuri, played for Don Mills. And Montreal took Joe Verbeek. He was their goalie, and he was kind of small.
Yeah, he was.
He's 6'6" now.
He had the spurt, eh?
Yeah,
he was kind of small.
He was. He wasn't. He was maybe 5'10" when we watched him. He's 6'6" now, and he was. Again, the team only lost 1 year. So Don Mills had they had 4 guys in this year's draft, and they'll have the number 1 pick next year's draft.
I would like to talk about the draft. I think things that interested me. I saw the Kraken. And they have the big S.
Kraken.
Kraken. What is that, a monster?
Yeah, it's like a mythical beast. Like it has like tentacles, and it's a beast that the sailors used to be afraid of, that used to drag ships down to the bottom of the sea.
Anyhow, they got the big S like we had it on Spokane Comets, and just to make sure that I did, you sent me over a picture of Connie Madigan and I together at the end of the bench. Where'd you get that, by the way?
Somebody sent that to us on my Facebook page.
Yeah, and I remember Connie coming in, and I'm sitting at the end. He says, "Move over." So, they picked Bernier. He was their draft pick, and Mason McTavish, his dad. And this is what I find interesting. His dad played for Calgary for 14 years, which is pretty good. Now, Luke Hughes had 2 brothers. He was first. The brothers were Quinn and Jack.
Yeah, so Quinn plays for Vancouver.
Yeah.
And Jack plays
and pretty good.
He'll be
he'll be making $9 million in a few years.
Yeah, and then Jack Hughes, who we saw play, he played for the Marlies, I believe, and he plays for New Jersey. And now his brother plays for him.
So let me ask, Dad, do you think that, these players that have, history of their parents or their dads being athletes, do you think that's a hereditary trait, or do you think that because they've been given the opportunity?
I think both. I hate to say.
Okay, if you had to, which one's more dominant, the hereditary factor?
I think that they're the NHL pick, and his dad Jim.
Well, I think they're around the dressing room.
Yeah,
so they know what it takes to get.
They know what it takes to get it, to get there, and the dedication needed.
Yeah, well, they know what. Well, Jim played for Spengler Cup, and his mom was a great athlete too, And Brandon Clark, brother Graham, is a third-round pick, and he's playing for New Jersey. So I find that interesting.
It's always amazing too how many of the players have sisters that are good athletes too that have played women's hockey.
Yeah.
Anyhow, let me go on with Tyler Boucher. His dad was Brian. He was number 18. I think it was by Ottawa. He's a goaltender, and he had 2004. Now let me see what I wrote this all down. You remember a long time ago, he had 5 consecutive shutouts, and that was his dad for Phoenix. You remember that a few years ago?
I remember. Yeah, I remember there was a guy. Did he have 4 or 5? There was a goalie. 5 shutouts in a row. 4 or 5 shutouts in a row.
And his name was Boucher, Brian. Anyhow, Cole Sillinger, dad is Mike, played over 1,000 games, 17 years. Now get this. He played for 12 different teams.
Holy.
12.
He's
I
right
must
up
tell
there
a story
with
about Larry Hillman.
Well, it's hard to beat Gary Smith for being traded.
It was. Well, he never played for 12. 12 has got to be a record. Chase Stillman. He was picked by 29th by New Jersey. His brother Riley played. I like that name, Stillman too. 4th round by Florida. Chicago. Corey, his dad, Corey Stillman. Everybody remember. Well, I remember him. 1st round pick for 1993. Played over 1,000 games. 2 Stanley Cups. Now I remember this guy. This is hard to believe. I remember his grandfather, Bud Stefanski, something like that. He played, and I remember I remember him. I wanted him to play for us. He was a good. He was up and down.
In Rochester or Boston?
In Boston. Nolan Ryan, picked 32 by Chicago. His uncle, 3rd round pick. He was 1994. Played 11th season in the AHL. Won the gold with the junior, and his brother Carl was a good coach in the American Hockey League. I find that interesting, anyhow. I'd just like to end, Tim, if you don't mind. I'd like to end with the kids. I know there's a lot of kids out there that have been very disappointed that they weren't drafted.
Yeah, this really was a funny year because a lot of the kids in the OHL didn't even play. So everybody knows kids rise up and they go down and stay over 60 games. And
so I know you're disappointed. Hey, Tim, you know.
Yeah, extremely disappointed.
Okay, I just want to name a few of the players, and there's quite a few here, that were not drafted that went on to be great players in the National Hockey League. So if you weren't drafted, don't feel bad. I'll name them out. Eddie Balfour, Hall of Fame. Sergei Bobrovsky, 2 Vezina trophies. Dan Boyle. Dino Cicerelli broke his leg, I think, though. That's why.
Yeah.
Steve Duchesne. Mark Giordano, Norris Trophy winner. Curtis Joseph, say no more, one of the best goalies I ever saw.
Played in the Olympics.
Timmy Kerr scored 50 goals, and I think he scored 50 goals.
We should tell stories about him one day.
Curtis Joseph, yeah.
No, Tim Kerr, maybe one of the best power play guys.
Yeah,
right?
and nobody even knows him. And he used to stand in front of the net, and boy. Adam Oates set a record, forget how many assists. Martin St. Louis won the Art Ross Trophy twice. Stevie Thomas, Nicholas Backstrom, Tyler Bozak, good defensive centerman. Mike Keane, Dave Poulin, he never got drafted. And I must tell a story, but Mike Milbury was not drafted either, my second best defenseman. So if you were not drafted, don't give up. Don't think that it's the end of the world. You will be found.